Hey guys, how's it going? So my goal for today is to get the 4 pots around the Hartley replanted. We have Norway spruce trees in there right now, 2 of which have not fared very well. The other 2 look really great, so I'm hoping to get those out of the containers and planted out in the landscape. And then we've got some new stuff to put in the pots. So here on the east side of the Hartley, you can see these 2 did not do great. I think it was a water issue that just wasn't caught soon enough. So I'm gonna look into whatever's going on in there. You know, when we take these out, it'll be telling to see, you know, how dry it is further on down the pot. Like, I've been finger testing the soil, but it's really hard to say what's going on down here. So we're gonna make sure that they're not plugged and all that business before we replant. But the other ones on this side look amazing. So see, that one looks great. The other one looks great. So we're gonna get these out in the landscape. I was just really hoping that all 4 of them would do great and we could use them for another winter here in these pots. But sometimes things just don't work out. So I don't want to go through the winter with just, you know, lopsided containers, 2 looking great and 2 either cleaned out and or dead in the pots. So I got some Oregon green Austrian pines that we're gonna go in with that look really interesting. I'm excited about the change. See, I've got them loaded up here in the gator. They are so deep green, which I think is gonna be beautiful, and they're more architectural than I normally see pines look at this stage. Also, there's a huge pine that's going to be going into the landscape today. So we'll show you that when we're all done. They brought, it's an Austrian pine. So it's similar to this, except for the Austrians get way bigger. These stay a little bit smaller in the end. Usually about 20 feet tall by 15 feet wide, while Austrian pines, the standard Austrian pines, can get much larger than that. So again, with this situation, we can use these in the pots this winter, either plant them out next year or leave them in for another year, you know, if we really like the way they look. But I like the openness of the structure. We're gonna take the bamboo stakes off and all the white tape that you see in here, so they'll just be the trees. And then we'll bring in some pansies or something to plant underneath them. I ran down to the garden center this morning. My mom and I walked around and just thought that those would look so pretty. There were some other options though. There were some arborvitae, but they were quite tall. Like, I think they would have been taller than the gutters. Like, from the bottom of the pot, they would have probably come up to about here, which I thought might look a little weird proportionally. And there were also some beautiful baby blue spruce trees, but I just don't know if I want blue in these pots. I think dark green is just a little bit more weighty, and it's just, in my mind, what I want to see in those pots for now. But the beast of this project is going to be removing these trees. I'm not going to be super careful with these 2. I thought I might try to plant them out in the landscape. I just think they're too far gone. I think it would take so long for them to rebound, if they even did, that it's not worth the struggle of trying to get them out intact. The other 2 though, I want to be really careful with the root ball and try to get as much of it out as we can. I just don't know how heavy it's going to be, so I'm going to probably have to ask Paul and Aaron to come in and help with that part. But in the end, hopefully we'll have some really nice pots out here to look at. Okay, so first step, shovels and probably a tarp, and I'm going to take after the 2 that are not looking great. Definitely not plugged. I mean, it's moist, but it's not soggy. I know that they just watered this morning. So maybe we'll just back off on the amount we're watering. You know, I think they're getting water every other day right now. Maybe we can go every 3 or 4 days. We are making progress. We got the first 2 Norway spruces out, the 2 that looked the worst. So we weren't super careful with the root balls. A person could still plant them. Like, they have a decent amount of roots left on them. And this has got a little bit of green at the bottom, but the top is pretty fried. All the needles were falling off. Same with this one, tiny bit of green down here, and the green's even looking a little bit like gray, like it's starting to dry. Usually we try to save plants if there's enough life in it to make it worth it, but I just don't know with those 2 if it is. So anyway, we got those out, put some biotone in the soil. I got a lot of the roots out. So any of the soil that was bound up by any kind of roots, I pulled all of that out, and I was just left with whatever loose soil was at the bottom. Neither one of them seemed to be plugged in any sort of way. So I don't think drainage or anything like that was a problem. And then I put the pine trees in, and they look so good. It just looks good to have something that's not dead in these pots. Something that has that deep green color. These aren't quite as full as the other ones were, so it's a little bit of a different look for now, but I love the airiness, and I love that there's space underneath, which is something that we did not have with the other spruce trees. Basically, it was just the spruce in the pot, which I love that look. It's very clean and tidy, but if you want to put pansies or whatever the case may be, which we're going to be doing today, if you want to put that sort of thing underneath your plants, you need to have space to do it. So now we can come in and plant our things in here, and they've got room to sort of mound up and fill in the bottom, and they won't get lost or squished by the centerpiece plant. I think I'm going to lower this one a little bit though. A little high. I didn't pack it in really well, so I'll just pop the plant out and push some soil under it just so we can get this about down to here. But I'm loving the look, and they're going to be beautiful with Christmas lights. So I had to have Aaron come in and help me on the second one, because the first one was the spruce that looked the very worst, so I knew it would be the least rooted in. The second one was a little bit more rooted in, and they're just so heavy. So I think what we're gonna do with these next two, we're gonna go out right now and we are gonna pre-drill with big auger a couple of holes where we want these to be planted. So right when we get them out of the pot, we can take them straight over and plant them, so the root ball is not exposed to air for any longer than it has to be. But to get them out of the pots, we're gonna cut the drip line down here. We're gonna put the pot on the dolly, roll it out to the driveway, and then we're going to strap around the base of the tree with a strap, and then the forks of the tractor, and then we'll just pull the tree straight up right out of the pot, the whole entire root ball, and then we can go drop it right out in the hole that we create, thus creating the least amount of root disturbance possible. However, I mean, given the fact that we can move these huge big trees with the tree spade, and you know that a lot of roots are being cut, they're getting a very intense root prune at the same time, but we've never had an evergreen falter, and we've had several installed on this property in different areas, and have never had one of the evergreens even act irritated that it was moved. So I think they're quite resilient, but it always feels better if you don't mess with the roots too much. And I love these trees. I've loved them here, and if I could keep them exactly this size and keep them happy and deep green, I would probably just keep these in the pots forever, because I love them. While we're waiting for Aaron, he's swapping the bucket on the tractor out for the auger right now. I'm going to clean up this Mangave real quick. You can see it's bloom stalks. The other one, bloom stalks on the other one were completely done, and these are getting close, and I just don't like them all that much. I don't think that they're that pretty, so I'm going to chop those down. Oh, that looks so much better to me. And we will get a longer life out of the Mangave, since it's not going to continue pushing energy into the bloom stalks. So Mangaves are monocarpic, meaning when they push a bloom stalk, that means that they're going to start to die. And they typically will push offsets or pups, and I can see one in the center of this plant actually. If you look down in here, I actually cut a large bloom stalk earlier on this season, but there's like this little baby in here that's formed up, and usually they'll produce offsets around the base of the plant as well. So that way, when sort of the mother plant dies, you have the babies to like continue on with. You can plant those and let them grow. But if you cut the bloom stalks, especially earlier on, if I were to have cut these earlier, we probably would have got more life out of the plant, but it just slows down the dying process. So anyway, we will be able to enjoy this plant a little longer now. And it doesn't look messy. Oh, he got the big one. You got the big one. I think we're just gonna head out and get those holes dug real quick. 36 inches.
Yeah, heck yeah.
For good measure.
Why not? Well, it was already on.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That makes it easy. Ooh. Oh my goodness. You ready for this part?
Yeah, it'll be easy.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I feel like this is going to be the hardest part, but
No, this will be easy.
okay. I'm going to cut the drip, which you can see the water access right here, and then the drip attached is right here. Okay. Well, it popped right out of the container. It's not nearly as rooted as I thought it was going to be. Like, we've got a lot of fluffy soil still left down in there. So you're going to follow me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to back the gator up, you guys, right to this area so that he can put this over the bed of the gator. Otherwise, we'll bounce along and bounce all the soil all over our driveway, make a big old mess. Oh, it looks so pretty right here. I love it, and the hole is perfect. So we are going to work on getting this all watered in and the soil packed back in around it. We brought out a rake, got the water tank here, but it always turns out to be more involved than you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
And that's why in the beginning of this video, I didn't make a long list of things I wanted to get done today, because I kind of figured that this project was going to be a little consuming for a while today. And it's warm. It's warm out today. How many degrees? 100?
85.
85. And here it is planted, first one. It looks really good in this corner. To the left here, we've got a linden and some arborvitaes. And I was able to actually utilize some drip that had been run over to the oak tree over there before we put the lane in. So we'll need to shorten all this. But at least it has water run to it for the time being, and we did water it in really well. Got a good deep soak, had very healthy looking roots going for it, so really happy about it. Looks so good. And this right here is the hope for every perennial and evergreen I use in a container. Not all of them make it out, but most of them do. Okay, we need to do that one more time. Then we can get the pots all finished up. You're fast, you already got the pot moved back. I stopped to get some drip supplies. So this is what I found in the back of Paul's gator, and I stole it. Okay, so we just gotta run new drip through the bottom of this. Oh, you know what? I wonder if this is why.
It's pretty wet.
This one's more wet than the others.
I wonder if it's...
If it liked it, because these were doing better. That was drier soil.
Yeah.
It was still moist though. But not this moist. That's weird. Found it. Can you grab that? Let me just come around the back side. So we need to get the pot moved back into place right here, but I can put the coupler on. So I've got a straight coupler right here and a hair. Gosh, I feel like such chaos today. So we're gonna put the coupler on the new drip tubing, and then I'm going to reattach it down below where we cut before. If you hear heavy breathing, it's because I am. Okay, drip is not being pinched. All right, let's do the next one. Tree number 2. So we have this one worked into the border that we've got a lot more stuff planted in. I think it's going to be really nice right here because we don't have another Norway anywhere close by. He's gonna go park that. Are you gonna come help me move that last pot into place?
Sure.
Okay, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I think our next Norway is all the way over there. So yeah, we needed one over here. It looks really good. All watered in. We'll have to tap into the drip back there and bring some drip over for this one. And that's the easy part. So now we are gonna go pot up the last 2 pine trees, and then we will go gather up some annuals and some other things to put around them. Well, this project ended up being quite the undertaking. I don't know why. It seemed like it took us a long time to do each one of the steps, but they are done. The big pine is planted. Let's start here and then we'll move back and take a look at the big tree. Look at how beautiful they are. I love the openness of these. The other ones, the Norway spruces, were really like a perfect Christmas tree shape, but they were very thick, you know, and I just kind of like the architectural shape of these and just the different vibe that they give to this area. Now down below each one of them, I used a mix of the pure red pansies and the Nagoya white kale. I used 6 of the kale and then just filled in with pansies, which we have enough heat and then at least in the 10-day for those pansies to really bulk up. And I think, again, these are gonna look gorgeous for the Christmas season because we'll have the evergreen element, we'll have the red pansies, and we'll have the white kale. All of these things hold up really well in the cold. So even though we've still got pink right here, and then red right here, which is something I usually would never do, the pink will not be out here for very much longer. And the red, I want it to go, you know, into winter and through that season as well. Let's take a look at this side. I just really like the color. That deep green just does it. Of course, the plain the blue salvia still looks beautiful as well. Here's a look at those 2 right here. These are now mostly in the shade on this side. I'll get a little front view here. That one's got a gorgeous shape right there. That one's a little bit more even on all sides. And then this one had a little bit of a wonky trunk, so I had to try to figure out which way to put it to make it look the most correct. And it looks good. Looks best from this side, which is the way we see it the most. So I did that on purpose. And then this one, you can see like from this angle, it has a little bit more of a flat side, but I used it here on purpose because see that Alberta spruce right there? It kind of, without actually filling up that spot, it visually kind of fills it in. And that's the only side that I have another evergreen on. So it worked out beautifully. So again, these grow about 20 feet tall, 15 feet wide. They are hardy down to zone 4. And when they push their new candles in the spring, which you want to fertilize usually early spring before they start pushing new growth. Typically we go around with evergreen tone or holly tone or plant tone, depending. But for these, it would be evergreen tone. Their candles are bright white. And they are a fairly quick grower, and they just sort of produce this asymmetrical sort of shape that's a little bit more interesting than just a straight up cone shaped evergreen, which I like both, but that's the thing, I like both. I like to have both in my garden. So we kind of have a mashup of all the things going on. We've got summer right here, which, oh, so gorgeous. Then we've got fall with the pumpkins, and then we've got our Christmas vibe with the red pansies. Why not? And oh my gosh, can you see that big pine tree back there? That's one they put in today. We're gonna go around this way. Let me move my fan. This way we can see how these evergreens are stacking up, and you can see the very tallest point in the back, that's the pine they put in. But we've got 6 right now, and we've got 3 more to go on this berm. So we've got our 3 Colorados. This one's like a medium blue, and then we've got a green, and then a more of an icy blue. Then we've got an Austrian pine just beyond that. And you know, if we turn this way, you can see there's quite a lot of space between each one of them. And it's not exact. We didn't intend on having them exactly spaced apart, but we knew we weren't going to be filling up the entire berm with this size of tree. So we wanted to leave enough space so that we could come in with some skinnier stuff in between. And we're going to be focusing mostly on evergreens, just so that we don't produce some, you know, leaf mess that blows into our neighbors' yards. Anyway, and some larger shrubs and things like that. But just beyond this Austrian pine, there's going to be another blue spruce. And then the green spruce they installed yesterday, which it was tipped when they installed it. And so they kind of redug and repositioned, and now it's nice and straight and gorgeous. And then as we kind of cruise around where the berm comes out here, you can see that Austrian. Oh, it's so pretty. And there's going to be another blue spruce in between these two, and then another blue at the end. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I just had an earwig on my arm. I actually probably wouldn't even mind a spider being on me, but not an earwig. Ew, ew, ew. This spruce tree is just like a beautiful Christmas tree. It looks like the shape of something that I would want to have in more of a small form in my house. And we will have now pine cones and spruce cones for crafting. Also, I was just thinking about this yesterday. The more evergreens we put in like this, especially the bigger ones, once they're established and rooted in, we can start harvesting a little bit here and there, like from the back sides of evergreens, and maybe like thinning things out for our own holiday projects instead of me having to order big boxes full of greens every year. I just realized it's becoming a little bit more of a reality for me to be able to do that, which is so fun. So anyway, guys, that is going to be it for our projects today. It didn't really feel like we did a tremendous amount, but boy, working with those big containers and the big evergreens, it's a heavy business, especially when you can't get equipment in close to it and you have to drag it out. I was thinking that as I was planting the pines, thinking that we're going to be in this position again in a year or two. Hopefully the case will be that all 4 of them look really good and we're popping them out into the landscape. But either way, when we go to change them eventually, we're going to have to do the same dang thing. Worth it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.